All right, what's up, everybody? The Breakdown Sports coming at you live. College basketball, huge slate today. A lot of good games on there. I think we have close to 100 games on today's slate. So let's get right into it. Steven and I, this is College Gamebreakers as usual. We're going to be bringing you our best bets for today's slate. We each got a decent amount of them. The slate starts within the next 25 minutes. So we're going to give you quick hitters today. I had some issues on my end with my laptop, but now we're here and getting rolling. So, Steven, we got a pretty good noon game on deck. Football rivalry, definitely a lot more live than the basketball one. But with Alabama and Auburn, you got to play on it. What do you see here?
Yeah, I see this as this is like Alabama's essentially prove-it game. Not like talent-wise. They're not trying to beat like another Florida or Tennessee, even though they already beat Tennessee. But showing up and beating your main rival on the road kind of big, I think that's going to show more than a lot of these other games just because, Auburn's giving Alabama their best shot today. And I'm just going to trust Alabama has just turned it around since that Western Kentucky loss, and I think they're going to win by more than 5.5.
Yeah, NATO to squad is definitely on a roll. The dismantling of Florida was the biggest thing that I've seen of them. So can they get 4 straight conference wins to start it off, really take a stranglehold of the SEC because they've taken down Tennessee and Florida now? So it might be a little bit inflated here with the 5.5, but you're definitely backing the hottest team in the SEC.
Yeah, especially because Auburn really hasn't showed up since they started SEC play either. This might be their backs against the wall kind of game, so I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I do still like Alabama.
Yep, so then my first play on a game at noon today. Steven does not share this one, so this will be a solo play for me. This one is strictly off the pick and roll model. This is one of the biggest edges today on the slate. So that's where never fun backing or going against Rutgers at home. They have that huge rack advantage. So if they can win, just win by less than 4 because I'm taking Ohio State +4. Umeori is out for Rutgers. He may not be their most important big man in their lineup, but definitely one of their most solid rotation pieces there. We project this at a -1, so I'm getting 3 points of an edge here. So that's why I'm going to back the Buckeyes, who may not be the most convincing Big Ten team. Just got to make sure that they can keep this one close.
Yeah, I'm never gonna back an Ohio State team in conference play, but also after Rutgers' last game against Michigan State, they have some holes too. That's why I'm staying away from it. But I'm personally gonna be rooting for Rutgers. If you looked at my picks recently, that's probably a bad sign for Rutgers. But I mean, I just don't like Ohio State. That's just a personal thing, I guess.
Nope, and they're 2-3 in conference, so they haven't been the most convincing team. But this Big Ten, everyone's saying it's deep. They're going to get like 9 teams in the tournament. I still don't think that's going to happen, but both teams are coming for a bounce back spot here. Hopefully, Ohio State can end the rack run. Sorry, Goose.
Yeah. My next game is, I think this is one of the couple of games we do share.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Texas at West Virginia game. I personally love Texas to have another statement win like they had against Kansas. I mean, just playing like Texas, their guards are good. Their forwards are just so much deeper than West Virginia, especially now without Sheboy. I don't see how this line of West Virginia -1.5 makes any sense.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. I think this is just one where it never feels good where the ranked team is on the road and the home team's favored here, but I don't think West Virginia should be a favorite here. Neither does the model. This is the smallest edge of the day of the plays that I have here. I'm getting this at +2. So Steven, I think you're just taking the outright money line, so you think they're going to win. But that's a 3-point edge there with Texas. I've been, knock on wood, pretty lucky back in this Texas team. So this is definitely West Virginia is just going to try to muck it up, but pure skill-wise, Texas holds a large advantage here.
Yeah, they definitely do. I feel like I don't think this game is going to be very close. This is one of the games where I feel like I don't even have to put it on TV, and I can just trust that it's going to hit.
Yes, sir. And it's definitely probably going to be one of the top games on today's slate with just overall on both teams. This one's going to be extremely quick because this is just another noon start here. I know everyone's going to be locking in with the football, all the other good games on at noon. Hofstra versus Northeastern. The wrong team is favored here. Northeastern should not be dogs to Hofstra at home. So that's where this actually is one of the largest edges on the model today. So that's why I'm taking Northeastern +2. Play them on the money line if you like to be a little crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Both these teams are a little bit weird to me, but Northeastern at home, I definitely like that.
All right, let's get back to the big boy games, even though the Pac-12, your least favorite conference, Steven. You got to play on it. Who do you got?
I mean, the Pac-12 hasn't been kind to me at all this year, but the only time it has worked is when I fade Washington, which is what I'm going to do again today. You got Washington at Cal. Cal's 2.5-point favorites. This is just the number seems too low. I mean, I don't know anybody that Washington can score with. The offense is just so bad, especially going on the road. I know there isn't really a home court advantage anymore, but still, Cal's not very good, but they're better than this Washington team.
So the only thing that I saw was I believe it's Matt Bradley on Cal is a little shaken up right now. So that's where, as long as he's in the lineup today, just go against Washington. This team's one of the least creative teams. When Wazoo plays Washington, that's going to be the biggest stinker of them all. But backing Cal as a short home favorites, that's a good angle here.
Yeah.
All right, so the next game I got another big power teams with Drexel and the College of Charleston. That tips off at 1 p.m. today, and I'm backing the Dragons here because Charleston should not be favorites. I'm playing a lot of games right at the pick'em line or 1.5 or 2.5. So all of these I would play on the money line, but I'm going to back the Dragons at plus 1.5 here.
Yeah, I like Drexel in this spot. I mean, they beat you guys. They only beat you guys by 4. That's a little suspect to me. I feel like they should have been a little bit better there. But
well, Hayden on the St. Joe's, who has the hardest strength of schedule in the nation. Drexel's the only team not in like the top 75 that we've played so far.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, Charleston's played a decent schedule. I do think this one's more of a toss-up, but I'll take the team that's been hotter, which is probably Drexel.
Yeah, Drexel's just, if you look at Ken Palm or Bart, they're just about like 60 or 70 spots higher. Charleston's only got 3 wins on the season. I mean, Drexel is sitting at 5-2, so it's weird to see them as dogs here, but they are on the road, so I'm going to take it.
Definitely. My next game is the other one that we share. I think the lines come down a little bit farther again, but I got UConn minus 2.5. I mean, they're just so much more talented than Butler. I know they're a little bit afraid of Bouknight not playing because of his hyperextended elbow, but we've seen in every game that there's a different guy that can go off. So even like when Bouknight wasn't playing well last game, Tyler Polley went off. The game before that, you had Tyrese Martin that went off. RJ Cole hasn't done it yet, but I mean, in his other 2 seasons, he's shown he's a great scorer. So somebody's going to show up, and I don't know who on Butler will be able to match that. Because I think if Aaron Thompson's still out, then I don't think they have that guy that can score.
He's going to be back because he played in their most recent game, I believe. So I think this line's came down, and I'm playing it at minus 1.5. Is I guess there might be some inclination that Bouknight might not suit up today, because I did see he's a game time decision. So if he's out, then that's exactly why this is at 1.5. I'm getting in here early saying that hopefully Bouknight does play. This line steams back up, but given how it's moved so far, Vegas doesn't think Bouknight's going to be playing, because that's the only reason why it's taken a 3-point hit since open.
Yeah, actually, I mean, since the open I had, it's only down a point, but it went from 2.5 shot right up to 4.5, and then came back down. So it's definitely all been on whether or not Bouknight's going to play. But Butler's one of like the few teams in the Big East where I feel confident even without Bouknight that will still win. It's essentially just like them, St. Joe's, DePaul, or not St. Joe's, St. John's. Them, St. John's, DePaul, and like Georgetown, I feel confident in no matter who's on the court.
Yes, sir. So the pick and roll model has this as, even though they're on the road, UConn should be 5-point favorites here. So that's where this is the second biggest edge on the model today.
Yeah.
All right. So going back off the model again, because with the huge slate, maybe I'll be dabbling in some other games later. Didn't get as much time as I usually like to look into these games, but going to be in some action here. I'm backing a 6-point home dog where Akron should not be laying -6 against anybody. This Eastern Michigan, the model has them at 3.5, so I'm getting over 2.5 points of an edge here. So I'm going to be backing Ypsilanti to pull this one through for me. Just got to cover the 6 here.
Yeah, especially with Akron being on the road, 6 points is 6 points. It feels kind of weird, but Akron's had, I mean, that win over Kent State a few days ago. That's not a bad win. Kent State is, I mean, they're decent. They're not bad, but like they beat them. They killed Ohio, which it feels like everybody's doing. So I think they could win, but I think you're right. I don't think it's going to be by more than 6.
Yeah, the issue is Eastern Michigan just dropped a tough one at home against Central Michigan, so that's where this line got inflated at. And Eastern Michigan, they do not play an efficient defense whatsoever, and they can't hit threes. So getting down and ugly in this one, but I think it's a nice, very buy low spot on Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Eastern Michigan hasn't beaten a D1 team yet, so that's a little bit worrisome for me. But at the same time, I don't trust anything about Akron, so that's probably why I would want to stay away.
Yep, you're staying away. I'm diving right in. Let's get back to a big game with OU at Kansas.
Yeah, nothing Kansas has done this year has sold me on them. So them giving 7 against an Oklahoma team that's looked a little bit better than I thought they were going to look coming into the season. I'm just going to say that Oklahoma keeps it close. I think they probably lose by 4 or 5, but not 7.
Yeah, I watched Oklahoma play against Baylor, and Baylor let them hang around for too long. Baylor did end up covering the 10.5 or 11-point spread. But Reeves, I mean, he's basically their biggest offensive contributor. Manic, when he can get going and getting on the inside, I mean, they hit the boards at a much better than I thought they would against Baylor, and they were able to force Baylor to turn it over. And Kansas, I mean, I don't think they drop another home game here because they already got their loss to Texas out of the way at home. So this is where I do like Oklahoma close.
Yeah. It's one of the ones that I'm scared of because usually when I take an underdog, I think they can win the game. But I don't see Oklahoma winning the game. I just see them losing by less than the spread.
All right. So probably the biggest spread I'm laying today. The grossest matchup is coming in the A10 here. And Fordham, they have just looked pretty rough since the start, but they did have that nice win, I believe, over Davidson. Or Dayton. But I'm going to lay the 14.5 here going against Duquesne. I mean, it just seems to be too much. The model likes to set 10.5, so I'm getting close to 4 points of an edge here. So when the model is saying you're getting 4, I got to back it here.
Yeah, and you like Fordham here?
Yeah, Fordham plus 14.5. I mean, if this was lower in single digits, I'd be all over Duquesne. But this is where, I don't know. Neither of these teams have gotten too many games in so far because most of them started with conference play because they did have to quarantine and with all the positives coming up late. But Duquesne sitting at 2-3, they dropped 2 in a row to George Washington and Davidson, so that's where Fordham. I mean, I'm just taking the points here. I just think it's too many. There's nothing too convincing to say about this Fordham team other than their defense is kind of locked down.
Yeah, their defense is all right. Their offense stinks. So as long as they slow the game down and play decent defense, the 14.5 feels like too many.
Yep.
Then I got the Kentucky at Florida game at 5 o'clock. Kentucky's been, I mean, they've won a couple of games in conference, so good for them, I guess. But I mean, they haven't beaten good teams. They beat like Vanderbilt and Mississippi State, and they won both. They barely won both those games.
Yeah.
I think Florida's mad after the way they lost to Alabama, and at home, I think Florida just comes out and absolutely kills them.
Yeah, maybe we saw with Florida against LSU, that was their get-up game for after Johnson's game, and then now he's back on the bench. Just a very terrible effort. I just think that was Alabama more just dismantling Florida. It's a nice back bounce spot. This Kentucky team's still been nothing convincing. They're having a different guy step up in every game. They don't even know who to start right now. Coach Cal I don't think he has any idea what he's doing with these guys right now. SQ's just basically been completely phased out now. So that's where you don't know who you're going to get with this Kentucky team. And if Florida gets hot, we've seen Kentucky doesn't get above 70s unless you get some overtime or late game.
Yeah, and Florida just shoots the ball so much better than Kentucky from beyond the arc, but at the same time, who doesn't shoot a lot better than Kentucky beyond the arc? So I don't know. 4.5, it just doesn't feel like enough. I feel like this should be more like the Kansas spread where it's around like 7 or 8.
Yep. So getting back down and dirty with mine, Steven's got your big name matchups for you today. I'm playing in 3 of them. The rest, getting some mid-major action in on this big slate. Definitely think there's some always value to be found on Saturdays in the mid-majors, especially with this probably being the best gambling weekend of the entire year with the football slate going on. So not a lot of eyes are being on this. And this is probably the spread that makes the least amount of sense to me on the board with Bucknell and Lafayette. According to KenPom and Bart, Lafayette is ranked higher than Bucknell is, but Bucknell's laying 3 at home here. Lafayette, they can put up points, and Bucknell so far this season, I don't know. I haven't been sold on them. They're 0-2. They've only scored in the 60s both games. Lafayette's gone over in the 80s, so maybe this is where Bucknell finally gets their offense going against not the best defense that we can see in the Patriots. So that's where Lafayette just got to hope that they can pull this one out, because I project this game as a pick 'em. So that's where I'm definitely going to take the +3 here with Lafayette.
Yeah. Lafayette's offense does look a lot better. Bucknell, I mean, I guess I just don't know how good Navy is. Like, Navy's 5-1 right now. They've been pretty good. Maybe Bucknell just ran into a good team, and Lafayette played a bad defensive team in Lehigh. I'm not really sure. So I don't like, these are the games I don't want to bet because I don't know enough about any of the teams. But if you're just looking off what they've done the first 2 games, then Lafayette looks like the stronger team.
Yeah, that's why definitely running the model I think can serve a lot of purpose, especially in these big game slates, because it can show you where where it just seems that the market's off. And these smaller games, Vegas isn't taking that much money on it. The biggest bet, I would be surprised if people's laying more than $5,000 on this game. I'm putting 100 on each of these, so that's why I like Lafayette +3.
Yeah, it sounds solid.
All right, so you got Sam Murphy's Tigers versus Ole Miss and Kermit. So who do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, got to take LSU here. I know Ole Miss's defense has been pretty good, but I'm taking the team of the 2 best players on the court. Cam Thomas and Trendon Watford are going to be the top 2 players on the court. And when you got that and you're getting points, I'll take LSU on the money line every time.
Yeah, you're getting the best scorer in Cam Thomas. Ole Miss just can D down, and we saw Thomas get pretty cold. Not cold for his standards the last game. He still got double digits, but it wasn't his prolific just pulling up from the logo for fun. But Kermit's side can definitely lock him down. And LSU, what defense is going to show up? Because Ole Miss doesn't put up a lot of points, but LSU kind of lets anyone get their way on defense. So we've seen Wade's team turn it around a little bit on the defensive end, but then you see the game against Florida where Alabama makes them look like nothing, and LSU just let Florida almost get whatever they wanted.
Yeah, I was watching that Florida game. It got a little bit iffy in the second half because Florida just had that one big man. Well, all LSU's big men were in foul trouble, and that dude just got the ball. He just turned around and just put up like a hook shot or a dunk every time because there was nobody anywhere close to matching him in size. So I guess that's the only thing I'm worried about is if they get in foul trouble again.
Yep. So I'm headed back to the MAC for my next play here. Second biggest spread that I'm going to be taking the points on. We got Kent State at home against Western Michigan. This is currently sitting at -11. This should be right at -8. So anytime that I can get 3 points of an edge here, especially in the conference battle in the MAC, I got to lay it with Western Michigan here. Kent State, I mean, MAC basketball is actually pretty good this season. I know we were kind of high on it, but the consensus usually is MAC basketball isn't something that you're dying to watch. But this season has been good. Just going against thinking that Kent State's a little bit too public here and a little bit too bet up. So that's where give me the double-digit points with Western Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah, I have watched a little bit of Western Michigan basketball. It's definitely ugly, but I feel like it's ugly enough that they can muck the game up enough to keep it in single digits.
I mean, yeah, a lot of the teams I'm backing today because we're going off the model don't play the nicest basketball or purest basketball like the 2-6 Michigan. Kent State's only 3-3, dropped 2 in a row to Akron and Toledo. Toledo's no joke, so I think Toledo might be the best team in the MAC so far. So that's where going to get just going to back Western Michigan here.
Yeah.
All right. So your favorite team in college basketball, you get to talk about now.
Yeah, I'm trying to reverse fade myself essentially, where I just want to. I hate UCLA and watching them play so much that I've lost on them 3 times in a row. So in my head, I'm like, you know what? I have to bet them because then that way it's a win-win for me. Either I win the bet and I make a little bit of money, or UCLA finally loses and I can laugh about how bad of a team they are. So I am on UCLA money line against Arizona tonight. And I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know if Arizona is really going to have like full focus on the game since they took themselves out of the postseason for this year. So, I mean, I don't think UCLA is the better team, but they've been winning all these close games. It just seems like they might just win again.
Do you think do you feel better that they are on the road here? Because UCLA and those home court refs always seem to get a little fishy there. But, I mean, this team's 8-2. They're quite impressive so far because Cronin, even though the results have been ugly and they probably don't deserve to win most of the games that they've been pulling out, and with Chris Smith out, just hope that laying 2.5 at Arizona, where the Pac-12 teams, I mean, we talked about this on College Gamebreakers. There's probably going to be one bid from this conference that's the auto bid. So I think this is where the conference is going to cannibalize each other, and Arizona does pull out a nice home win here.
I mean, honestly, I hope Arizona wins because I don't want to see UCLA win, but I got to give myself something to be happy about if they do win.
All right. So this is probably the grossest game on the board, I'm betting, just from both squads overall here. This is one of them where it's a back-to-back in the conference play, and Green Bay, young Ryan, did pull out the win yesterday. So usually what we've seen in these back-to-back games is it's hard to do the sweep, but you're going against Oakland. They were the hottest team momentum-wise because of how poorly they started. Winning 3 of their last 4 just had to get them any bit of momentum because they looked lifeless in some of those games. And I just don't think Oakland should be laying points whenever. Jordan backed Green Bay last night. They pulled out a nice 3-point win against Oakland. I think it was 84-81. When you're letting Green Bay put up 80 points, hopefully that Oakland just, I mean, they definitely have more experience and the better coach here. So this is where maybe going against Campy might not be the best idea, but this Oakland side, I am not racing to the counter to be laying points with them at any time. So Green Bay plus 1.5 here, just got to take it because this is the biggest edge on the model. It says Green Bay should be at minus 4.5 point favorites here. So when I'm getting basically 5 to almost 6 points of an edge here, missed it yesterday. Hopefully I'm not too late with it today.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing safer than betting against Oakland University. Doesn't matter how bad the team is that they're playing. So, I mean, obviously I like it. I'm too afraid to bet on like those type of games where it's like a 3-11 team against like a 2-9 team. But if I had to put something on it, it's the money's not going on Oakland.
Yep. So let's see if young Ryan can pull it out. Hopefully they're not too distracted by the Packers coming up.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers should kill whoever they're playing, so they shouldn't be too worried.
All right, we each got one play less. Steven, you got a nice late one. All of mine tip off at 5 or earlier. 2 are about to go off right now. So when we recap, you can always bet them live because the tip might not happen for 5 more minutes.
Yep. I got Nevada plus 11 against San Diego State. I don't know what's been going on with San Diego State this year. All their lines just seem super overinflated. Like the game against Colorado State that I had last week, San Diego State actually ended up losing, which was hilarious considering they were up like 24. But even when San Diego State just played Nevada a couple of days ago, they only won by 5. And it's tough to sweep a series like we've been saying. And when they only won the first one by 5, why would they be giving 11 right now? So I just think Nevada keeps it within single digits.
Yeah, I mean, Transfer U still going strong there. SDSU started off hot. I mean, they've came down a little bit, but that Mountain West is going to be an issue where Nevada, I don't think San Diego State covers multiple points. So this is where I'm laying double digits in both. I like the mindset, same thinking here. So Nevada, take the points.
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right. The last play of the day, then we'll give you a quick recap of our games is, get into the Ohio Valley here, Steven. So we got Austin P and Eastern Illinois, one of the marquee matchups of the day, 5-5 versus 6-4. Both of these teams are basically ranked right around each other. I know home court advantage doesn't have significant play in this one, but going to take Eastern Illinois -1 here. Mile has it at -3.5, so it's one of the smaller edges, but Austin Peay's defense has just been pretty terrible. They're letting everyone get in the high 70s against them. That's a pretty notable team. They did spank Murray State the one game, but then we saw Murray State come back 2 weeks later and win. Eastern Illinois, they don't do anything too solid other than hit threes. They're shooting at a 37% clip right now. So just hoping that Austin Peay's weak defense allows where they're allowing teams to shoot 37%. So I think it's just going to rain threes in Eastern Illinois today.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it doesn't look like Austin Peay's been able to stop anyone. And then just Eastern Illinois being able to play at home. They should probably be like 2 or 3 point favorites, not 1. So Eastern Illinois sounds right.
All right, so let's wrap up our plays real quick and recap them. Games are about to tip off, so we know everyone's dying to watch them. What do you got for us today, Steven? We each got big cards.
Yep. I have 11 games of the 9 we talked about. Alabama -5.5, Texas money line, Cal -2.5, UConn -2.5, Oklahoma +7, Florida -4.5, LSU money line, UCLA money line, Nevada +10.5, and then I got Hartford money line against UMass Lowell, and I have Rhode Island money line against VCU.
Ooh, all right. So didn't talk about that VCU fade there, but I like that you snuck it in at the end. All right. You got 11 plays. I got 11 as well. So weird how that works out, but going to take Northeastern +2, Ohio State +4. Both of those are the noon tip-offs. If you were too late to them, get them live. Stevens, Alabama -5.5. You can get that live as well. My 1 p.m. plays is Texas +2. And then I got Drexel +1.5. Eastern Michigan +6, UConn -1.5. Let's hope Book Night plays today. Fordham +14.5. Hold your nose. If you're not going to watch one, that's probably the one you should definitely skip of all of them. Lafayette +3, Western Michigan +11.5, Green Bay +1.5, and Eastern Illinois -1.
Yep.
All right. So, Steven, this is College Game Breakers. It's a basketball one. But tomorrow night, Alabama, Ohio State, who wins?
Alabama.
Easy. They cover the 8.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably 14 or 21.
Man, I like it. Everything in me wants to think Ohio State can pull this one out, but I mean, both corners are weak, so that's where I think we see points. It's going to come down to, I think the over is definitely the best play in it, but what's going to kill it is if they settle for field goals and don't get into the end zone. So that's where I would like to maybe tease down Bama a little bit and tease down the over so that you get the 6-point teaser there. I think that's your best way to go in that one.
Yeah. Also, yeah,
right.
I didn't mention it at the start of the show, but this It's Only Money sweatshirt will be worn every single episode until I'm making money. And if I fall back down to losing money, the sweatshirt comes back. This is every week now.
I like it. Get that good juju going. So that's College Game Breakers, brought to you by thebreakdownsports.com. We'll try to get earlier on Saturday mornings for you, but everyone's doing a lot, so we want to get there. Our college b-ball plays. Make sure to check us out on Twitter. You can see Steven ran at Coastal Carolina when they're down early but end up winning. You could catch maybe any other plays that we like throughout the day if we decide to add these in, since these were our morning ads. And if you want UConn banner during that game, it's going to be live because Steven doesn't show Butler much respect. So UConn only being -1.5 should be a nice play today.
Yep. Also, if I talk bad about UConn and then lose, I don't know if anybody else saw it or if this is just me because of the people I follow, but it's a new trend in UConn basketball Twitter. If we talk bad about UConn when they're losing and they come back to win, and we all got to take shots of hot sauce. It's not fun, but it's what has to happen.
Yep, you can see a true fan right there. So that's it for our episode. You can follow me on Twitter at @reast_easy with the D. Follow Breakdown Sports at BRKDWN_sports. Steven, where can they follow you at?
Yep, you can follow me for all my – it's literally just my emotions while I'm watching the game at Steven Carlson 97. And it's going to flip so much. It's just me being like, yo, fuck this team. They're the worst. To thank God they ended up winning in the span of probably like half an hour.
Yep, and that is our show for today. We'll see you guys later.
Yep, see you later.